Hey everyone, in this video what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the examples that we saw in the lecture and just code them. Okay, so I'm going to do a walkthrough. It's a video walkthrough on all the examples that we saw, and hopefully this will help you to understand things in a different way. Okay, so let's do this. Let's open up, let's go into our Visual Studio. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of the examples one at a time. Let's just make one project that we can run separately. Okay, so let's go to create new project. Okay, and we'll go to console applications. Say next. And the first one that we talked about was this this hotel application. Okay, so let's go in and just we'll call it hotel project. How's that? Okay, and we'll stick it on the desktop, and what we're going to do is we're going to put it in a folder on the desktop. We'll just put it on the desktop here, and we'll select this folder, and we'll just store it there, and you can put it wherever you want, but it's going to have the name here. I might actually create it's going to create a folder for us anyway. Okay, so hotel project is the name. Okay, so we're creating that folder and putting it on the desktop. Okay, so the first thing we want to do that we talked about is we want to create these the hotel objects that were in this example. Okay, so here's main. I don't really need any of this. This main is the hotel project. It's the main function for that. We don't actually need any of this because we're going to put our own code in. Okay, so what we need to do is create the class, the hotel class. Okay, so we go in, and we can do it in one of two ways. You can create the class, so we can go click on the project and just say add, and then add class. Okay, that's one way, and we're just going to call it hotel. So we got the hotel.h and hotel.cpp. I'm not going to have any base class, just keep it nice and simple, and we have the two definitions. We're going to define it ourselves. You can use a wizard to do all this stuff, but it's just easier, I think anyway, to just basically do it by hand. Okay, so here we are, hotel, and we said that in this hotel object we have different things that we need to different properties and methods. Okay, now here there's a couple things that are needed by this class, and we need access to, because we're dealing with strings, so we need to include a string. Okay, string. Okay, in here, because we're going to be using strings, and what we could say is using namespace and then std. Okay, we can do it like this, and I hope this one is going to give us no issues. It doesn't look like it will, so alright, so hotel. So here we have class hotel, open close bracket. So now we have to define our variable. So private, okay, and then we have a string, right, and then we have name. Okay, Control S, it got it because it's using namespace std, so good. And then we have an integer, rooms available. Okay, so these were the two properties of the hotel object, and they're private because we're going to access them using the methods. Okay, so here we're going to say here is our public methods, right? So these are going to be our public methods. So we have we defined a hotel. So we had a hotel constructor initially that had no, it was the default constructor, and it took no inputs. Okay, so what we're going to do actually, we're going to actually define. So we have basically it's going to take as input, and then name. Okay, and that's going to equal. Now here is the defaults, right? These are the default. Defaults, right? Default values for these parameters. And remember, we used my hotel as the name, the default name of the hotel if none is provided. And then we said int, and then input rooms, okay, and then equals 35. We said in the example. Okay, so this is the constructor. Now, I wanted to note that this is the declaration, but we don't have the definition yet. Okay, so I'm just providing these defaults here in the declaration. Okay, and you see it's underlined here because we have not provided a declaration yet, and we will. And that's going to be in hotel.cpp. Okay, so we're gonna do that soon. So just save this. We'll get to this in a second. All right, next we have get rooms available. So int we have get rooms avail. Okay, so this is the declaration for that function. It's part of this class. We have void and then set rooms avail, right? And then int rooms. Okay, so that's the next one. Sorry, Control S it should be to save. And then we have string get name. I should use camel case here. Okay, so that's that one. And then we have one for set name. So we have get name, it returns a string, and we have this one returns nothing because it's a setter. Set name is expecting a string, and then we provide hotel name. Okay, it's underscore name there the way it's written, so we'll just use the same thing. Okay, so and then Control S to save, and then we also looked at a just as an example, how could you put a protected component? So we usually have private, public, protected. So protected, just as an example to show you int, right? And then here is a protected variable, something like that. Okay, so this is where you would put a protected variable. Okay, so that's this just means that it can be inherited by the by a child class, okay, or a derived class it could be. Okay, so this is where we place our declarations. Now let's go and take a look at our definitions. So we're going to go into hotel.cpp. Okay, and here we include hotel.h. Also, if we want to use it, remember in the main function we need to include hotel.h. Okay, because we need to have that definition. All right, so let's go into hotel.cpp. We include hotel.h, and one thing that we need to remember is, let's see, what do we have here? We have, okay, these are just going to set our variables. So we have, okay, hotel, so it's the hotel, then unary scope resolution operator. Now we have to define the hotel constructor in the same way that we defined it up here. So one thing we could do, if you just want to go like this, copy, and then go here, they're going to change a little bit, but I just want to know what the inputs are. Okay, so it's this guy right over here. Okay, so Control X, paste, I don't have to type so much, and then we can get rid of this one because it's going to be defined here. Okay, so we go in here, open, close. So when we instantiate a hotel object, right, here we can you can put your values here, or you can take them out because in the declaration we have these default values, but I can leave them here as well. Okay, so hotel, so name, which is a variable of the class, and that equals input input with a capital N-A-M-E. Okay, so that's that one. So name, if you go back to hotel.h, you see that it's a private variable. All right, so name, and then we have rooms available, or rooms avail. Okay, and that equals input rooms. Okay, so that's what we input there. And 35 is the default. Okay, so that's that function. That's good. Now this one is going to be defined here is hotel unary scope resolution operator. Get rid of that and open up the brackets. And now we define the next one. If you want to put a space, some people like putting spaces. Okay, so that's that one. We go here, and now we can define the get rooms available, and that's just going to return, right? it's going to return rooms avail. This is the getter. No issue there. And now the next one is set rooms available, which is again hotel. It's part of the hotel class. Set rooms avail, and then we have int rooms, and then we have the definition. Set rooms avail is defined or declared. Okay, so now we just have to define it. Set rooms available is rooms avail, right? That's the private property or private variable equals rooms, which was supplied to the method or the function. Okay, so here we have get name, so it's hotel get name, and we get rid of it's a definition, right? Not a declaration. So get name is just return name. Okay, so this has access to the private variable. And then we have set name. Again, it is part of the hotel class, and we want to provide a definition here. So open up the set name becomes name equals hotel name. Okay, so that's that one. I did something wrong. It's a lowercase, and there's no, yeah, okay, perfect. Control S. Okay, so here is our this is our definition. Okay, and we don't use any other function, so we need nothing but the definition of hotel.h. So we go here, close that off. Let's go to where the main file is, hotelproject.cpp, and here we have IOStream because we're going to have input-output here. So again, in here, I'm going to say using namespace std because I just, for the couts and cins that we're going to do, it's like printf. I don't want to have to keep typing std cout. You know, some people will argue, okay, you want to have that scope resolution operator all the time, different namespaces, but I just want to be nice and simple here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to define hotel, a hotel on the stack. Okay, and then we're going to read and write, and then also include some examples on the heap. So here's on the stack. Okay, so here we go. We're going to say hotel 1. All right, and hotel 1 here we're gonna start. So here we created a hotel, but and the default values are going to be set, but I want to change from the default values. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say hotel1 dot set name. I'm going to set it to Ritz Carlton. Okay, just for fun. All right. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change the rooms available. So hotel1 dot set rooms avail, and go from the default, I think it was 35 to 50. Okay, let's change that value. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start outputting the values that are stored. So I can say cout, right? I could say, okay, I'll put it on the new line. So new line, and so I'm going to say then space, and then what I can do is I can either go on the next line or here, you know what? Let's do it like this. Okay, so and then hotel1 dot get name. Okay, and then we go like this, and then say has, and then like this, and then we say hotel1 dot get rooms avail. Okay, it's going to return, and then I'm going to go like this, say rooms available, and then \n, and then what I should do really is go like this, ENDL, and then that's a new line. That really is a new line. I didn't really need to put that, but anyway, okay. That's good. So let's test this out. So go Control S to save, and then we run it and just see if it's gonna work or if it's gonna break on us. Let's see. There's some build error. Okay, great. We don't want to go from the last build. Did I do something wrong somewhere else? Redefinition of the default parameter, parameter 1. It doesn't like the hotel1.cpp, and actually I didn't need to redefine it. So let's go here. Here I didn't really need to actually redefine these things. So what I could have done is simply take out these default. I can take it out in either place, but that's true that you don't need to have this redefinition. So Control S should be okay. That should work. Let's go check out our code, see if it works, and see what it prints. Does it give me Ritz-Carlton has 50 rooms available? Great. So far we tested this part of our code. Everything works as expected. Okay. Let's take a look at the default. I didn't show you the default actually. I created this hotel. Let me make another hotel. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna continue C default values. Okay, so we're gonna say hotel and then hotel1 underscore 1 just for that. So here we've instantiated a hotel called hotel1 underscore 1. This is going to be the default hotel value. Okay, so here we're going to do the same thing, except what we're going to do is go right to this, Control copy, right there, but we're not using hotel1, we're using hotel1 underscore 1. So we gotta go in here and just make these small changes, but it's a different object. So we're going to go and take a look at this one. So Control S. I hope everything is correct. Let's go in and just see that there should be 2 hotels that are built. Yeah, so the default is my hotel, 35 rooms. Okay, beautiful. All right, so let's go next. Now let's go in and just put in another hotel. Actually, we don't really need to do this one. It's the same as what we saw before. Let's go in and go on the heap. So we did on the stack. Now let's go and work with the heap. So we're going to create an object on the heap. Okay. So we're going to go in and say hotel and then pointer. So this guy's going to be a pointer to a hotel object called hotel2. Okay. And that is, we need the new. We need to call hotel with now we're not going to use the default values. We're going to provide values. So Hyatt, okay, Regency, okay, and then here we're going to put 100. Okay, so these are the new values, and here we are going to actually go out and put. Let's use this one because we're going to change the 1s to a 2. So copy. Paste, change this to 2, change this to 2, but now because hotel2 is a pointer, we need to use pointer notation. So what we need to do is see the dots here, use the arrow operator, right? Because hotel2 is a pointer to that object, so we need to remind ourselves that it's a pointer and we're actually calling the method. Okay, that it's pointing to. Okay, so Control S, save, and let's run. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I could have a problem because I need to delete hotel 2. Okay, so this object needs to be deleted. The space needs to be reclaimed so that it can be used by another program. Otherwise, it's going to have to wait until reboot to clear the heap. I could use, if I want, system pause. I don't really need it here. So Control S. I just run this program. Okay, so Hyatt Regency has 100 rooms available. Okay, so that's great. This is the hotel project. So what I have to do, so we sort of looked at all of the examples of these hotel examples that were in in the course. So what I'm going to do is, this all works nice, so we're going to go in and we're going to close this and create a new project. Okay, so I can either close the project, right? I can go in and, where's close? Close the solution. Okay, great. So now we can open up a new one. All right, so let's go in and we're going to make a new project. And now we're going to look at the different, remember we had inheritance, we had the customer, person, basic, and we also had, what are they called? Premium types of customers, right? So this would be like, I don't know what you want to call it. We might just call it the inheritance, because that's right, inheritance. Let's just call it inheritance as what it is, because we're showing inheritance, polymorphism, and all that stuff. Okay, so we're going to put it in the desktop, and we're putting the solution in the same directory, and we're going to say create. Okay, so we have this again, and we don't really need all of this. We don't want it. Inheritance, we don't need this. All right, and now what I want to do, we got to create a number of objects. Remember, we had person at the top, so it's going to be the base class, right? Then we had customer, and then we had premium and basic, and that was the structure of our inheritance. So let's go in, and so right-click on this guy. You can just build the .h and .cpp files separately, but this just does it for you. So if we go in add, and we're going to go to class at the top, top class. We could have this as base. I mean, we could start at the bottom and go premium, right? We could say premium, and then we could say, we could do that. Okay, why don't we start with basic? Oh, because we didn't define the other classes. Oh, let's go start at the top. We go person, so person. All right, person.h, person.cpp. There's no base, right? Because it is the base class. So then we go okay. So this creates person and person.h, right? So we got that. Now we need to define customer. So customer, same thing. So customer inherits from, so we say add class, and now this is going to be customer, right? And we're going to say base class is person, right? And then, great. Let's see if it works, how it works. Yeah, see, public person. It gives it to us in a nice way. Okay, the next thing we got to do is go in and we need to create basic and premium, right? So basic and premium, so go add, we're going to say class, we have basic, the base class for basic is customer, right? Right, and yeah, access is not private, okay, it's all public, so we say customer basic and then okay. And then we also need one more. We need premium, because premium is going to inherit from there. So add class, and then go premium. I hope I'm doing all this right. And then the base class is customer. Okay, and then say okay. And it should work nicely. Beautiful. All right. So the first thing we want to do is go and look at, we need person.h. Okay, or person, right? So let's go to person.h, because that's our base class. Now, within person, we have a couple things. We're dealing with strings. We have pragma once. We can leave pragma once in here. Person.h, and let's just leave it at that and see how this goes. Control S. All right, so we're dealing with strings here. So include. We should put this in quotes. String, actually not quotes because it is actually a base header. Okay, so Control S. So we're going to deal with strings here, so we might as well. And we should say using namespace std, just for our own sanity and not having to type out std : string all the time. So here, okay, because person is going to be a base class, things are going to be inherited from a person. So here we have protected variables, which are inherited by the classes that inherit from the person class. We have string first name, and then we have string last name. Okay? And then after that, we have the public method. Public, and then here are our methods. Okay, so we have the constructor, so person, person, okay, and then we have string, and then first, and here we have the defaults, right? We're going to put some defaults. If they don't put anything, we put something, and then string last equals like that. All right, and this is our default constructor. Okay, and our constructor, and we supply default values. Okay, and then we have the methods that access the values first name and last name. So we have string. They both return a string. So get string, or get first name. First name, like this. Okay, and then we say string, and then get surname, like that. Okay, so this is the definitions. Okay, so let's go and say Control S to save. It has a problem here. They're underlined because we don't have the definitions. The definitions are going to be in person.cpp. Okay, so we have to save this. We'll save this, and we're going to go into person.cpp. Okay, and in person.cpp, what we're going to do is we're going to provide the definitions. Okay, so now in here, what we're going to do is okay. So we need to include. Okay, we need to include string because some of the parameters that we have in our declarations use strings. So we need to include that. We already included person.h, so that's good. So now what we need to do is provide the definitions. Okay, so where's person.h? It's here. I could, if I wanted to, open this up and put it. Let me see. I want to open it up side by side. Here we are. Oops, there it was there. Side. No, I want to put it side by side. If I want to go view, actually I don't really want it permanently like that. Actually, okay, let's just go in person.h and grab these. Okay, make it simple. I don't know why I complicate things. Okay, go in person.cpp and just put these declarations here. We're going to turn them into definitions. We're going to get rid of these default values. Okay. We're going to turn everything into a definition. Put some space. And then make it a definition. And give everything some space. Okay. Control S. Is there a problem? No. Okay, no problem. All right, so here is person. Again, this is coming from person, so it's part of that definition. So it's part of the person class. This one is person. Get surname. Control S. Save. Let's see what happens. Let's go back to person.h. Is it giving us Control S? Is it giving us an issue? String get first name, string get surname. Go to person.cpp, include person.h, include string. String person get first name, string person get surname. There's an issue somewhere. Let me see. String first, string last. Why is there an issue? Let's go to oh, you know what I forgot to do? So it's std string. So again, I have to say using, right, name space std. All right, because otherwise I have to say std and then. Okay, so Control S to save. So string should be working here. Why not? Probably I have something else I'm missing. Let's go and see. So using namespace Control S, std, we have, it should be correct. Person string. Let's go back to person.h. It's telling me it's having an issue. Let's take a look and see what's going on. It's having an issue with all the strings now. Let's see what the problem could be. Am I missing something? Okay, this one. Okay, let's go to, maybe I missed something else. Okay. We can always go back and okay, let me see something here. This is person. Okay, so that's good. Oh, that's what broke it. Everything broke from there. Okay, so that's good, and then we go person.h, and that's all good. Okay, so the problem was that I forgot to put what this constructor which class the constructor belonged to. Okay, that's, well, simple, easy mistake. All right, so good, everything's good there. Now, in the constructor, what are we doing? What we're doing is we're initializing first name equals to first whatever was supplied in that parameter, and then last name. Remember, last name and first name are protected variables, is last, whatever they supplied for last. So we initialized all of our variables. Get first name, it just return, right? First name. That's it. Get surname is return last name. All right. Control S. Beautiful. So that's the person. This was the base class. So we have that. So person and person.h are both defined and correct. Okay, so that's good. Now we got to go down to customer. Customer, remember customer. So if we go to customer, customer we have, okay, this is customer.h. Okay, and we have to include person.h because it's inheriting from there. Okay, so we have customer.h and we have customer.cpp. So we're going to define the class first. Okay, we have include person.h. We also need, because we're dealing with strings, so we need to include the strings. So include string here in this file. Okay, so Control S. And then what we're going to do is we're going to define all of the variables and methods. So we say here we have private, all of the ones in addition to those in person that we want. So we have an ID. Okay, and then again I'm going to do the same thing. So with the strings, I'm going to say using namespace std, just to prevent from having to type that all the time, and then Control S, and then in here I have a string basically, right? So it's a string and then email. Done. Okay, so I'm adding to customers have IDs and they have emails in addition to first names and last names, and then we have these member functions. So public. Okay, and then these are going to be, so we have the default constructor, so it's a customer, right? And then we say int ID, that's input. Okay, and we're going to just put the default values. Okay, so 0 if they put nothing, and then string, which is first equals nothing, empty string, and then string, and then last equals nothing if they put nothing, and then string, and then email input is this empty string. Okay, so this is the constructor, and we put some default values here. We won't put it in the implementation. Okay, in the definition section, and then we say, okay, we need an ID, a getter for the ID. Okay, so we have get ID, that's something we're going to define, and we have get email, which is going to return us a string. So get email. Beautiful. All right. Now, we talked about this customer method, or sorry, this customer class being an abstract class. So I'm going to go straight to that. Okay, so as it's public, but we're going to make customer an abstract class. So we need purely, I hope I spelled that right, purely virtual functions. Okay, and that the child classes, right, or the derived classes, that they must or are forced to implement. So virtual, okay, that makes, and then it's going to return a double here. Get monthly fee was the one we were looking at, and to make it purely virtual, we set it equal to 0. Okay, so now this class cannot, it's abstract, it cannot be used to instantiate. It's not a concrete class. It can't be used to instantiate objects. Okay, so once you have one of these, that's it. You can't make anything. So virtual, and then this one's going to return an int, get amount to, and we said borrow, that was our thing, and then we said it was equal to 0, so this one needs to be implemented, and then virtual, and then this is going to return a string that's going to tell us the type of customer, so it's get, and then get type, and then set that equal to 0. So these are the functions that we need to go and implement. Okay, so this is great. So this is our class definition, Control S. I'm going to grab all of these and Control C. So customer.h is there. I'm going to move, now I need customer.cpp here. So take that. We already finished with person. I could just close person just to keep things nice and simple. We have customer.cpp and customer.h we just defined, but we'll keep it open while we're defining things. Okay, so customer.cpp is going to be include. So we have customer.h. Again, we need string. So so we say include. We need strings, right? This guy, we're always dealing with strings, so that's something that we're always going to use. So then Control S, and then here we need to define the customer now, right? So let's not make the same mistake we made before. So it's customer, right? And then we calling the constructor, and then int, and then if we actually, you know what I should do, just to keep things, there we go here. Okay, this is what we need, right? So we don't want the, okay, we're going to remove all the other components, but here we are. Here we're going to take out these default values because it will be defined twice. Okay, get rid of the default values. Okay, and here we're going to actually define what's going to happen. Okay, we'll do that in a second. So I got to remove this guy. Okay, we have a definition, so curly braces, we don't need that much space. Another one here. Okay. Alright, and these ones I actually don't need to do any definition because they were already set to 0. So I actually don't provide these definitions. These definitions will be provided by the customers that inherit from this class. So we'll deal with those later. Okay, so let's save that for a second and just put in what we're going to do with customer. Now, one thing we talked about with customer was that we could, okay, so we said there's ID, email, first name, and last name, right? We need to instantiate or initialize these things, right? So we said, okay, ID, which was the private, is ID input, so whatever was input when this constructor was called. We said that email was whatever the email input was, whatever was input as the email. Okay. We also said we could go first name equals first, and then last name, right, equals whatever they input for last. But you know, I mean, this is fine for this type of definition. However, if you had a lot of initialized things by like this is duplicate code, okay? It's only 2 lines, so that's not too bad. But the issue is, what if there's more? So we don't want to do this. We don't want to duplicate this code. What we want to do, because the person class constructor, okay, it contains this code already. What we do is we go to the next line. Okay, let me go back here. Let me do this nicely. And then we put, I put a tab or whatever you want. You could have done it on the same line if you want it. Put a colon. Okay, and then basically we are now calling at the same time first and last. So we're calling the person constructor, okay, before we do anything. So we don't have to do this code. We're calling the person constructor, and this guy is going to set first name equals first, last name equals last. So we don't have to repeat it. I put it here just so you can see what's happening. Okay, so get ID, again, it's not just that, it belongs to the customer class, so it's a method or a member function. And again, the same thing happens here. Customer get email. Okay, so here get ID is just return, and it's ID. That's how it's defined. And then here is return email. Okay. All right. Control S does everything we need. Okay, so that's our definition for customer. So we've got customer.h, good. We've got customer.cpp, that's excellent. So we don't need these anymore. Actually, we probably need customer.h because I need to copy that stuff. But this implementation we don't need. We're done with that. We need these guys. We need to implement these guys in addition to anything else that we want to implement. Okay, so that's customer.cpp and customer.h. Both are done. Now we have basic and premium customers. So let's start with the basic. Okay, so let's go into basic.h. So I'm going to keep this guy open because I just want these guys to remember what their names are. So let's go into, let's do basic.h first. Okay, so basic is public customer. Great. Okay, so now we need a constructor, and we're going to provide default values for that constructor. And then we need to show that we are going to implement those purely virtual functions. So we say basic, and we say int, and then ID, input. Here we're just setting the default values. And before I go on, we're using strings, so we need to do the same thing we always did. So include string, and then I want to say using namespace std, so I don't have to keep typing std string. Okay. All right, so this guy, and then this guy is string first equals, and again, we're going to make these guys, and then string, and then last is not empty string, and then email input, string, email input by the user when they instantiate the object, and that is that. Okay, so this is our constructor. Okay, so that's that one, and then we also have, we need to implement purely purely virtual, right? Virtual functions. All right, so these guys need to be implemented. So, but first we have to declare that we're going to implement them, right? So in the declaration we say, okay, we're gonna. So they were double. If I actually go here, okay, I can just copy this, but remove the virtual and remove the equal, right? So if I go in here, so I say this, I got to remove the virtual because they're not. This is going to be a concrete class. It can actually make objects, and we're not setting them equal to 0 because they're not going to be virtual at all, or purely virtual for that matter. Okay, so these guys are going to be implemented. Now it's underlined green because we haven't put their definitions yet. Okay, so what we're going to do is go in here. Now we need to go to basic.cpp and actually implement these guys. Control S. I should say declare, right? Declare. It's not really implementation here. It's going to be implementation in basic.cpp. So if I go into basic.cpp, now I have to go in and do these implementations. Okay, so again, same thing that I did before. So I'm going to go here. This is going to be implemented. It's not going to be virtual. Right? I also am missing. What am I missing? I'm missing from basic.h. I'm missing this guy. So control copy, so go there. I'm going to do this guy first. Okay, and this is going to be an implementation, so everything gets changed to, before I do really anything, I'm just going to make sure that I convert these guys over. Okay, so that's the first step. Okay, so I'll convert these guys over. Okay, next thing I want to do is say, basically that's part of the basic class definition. All of these are part of the basic class definition. This guy has to be gone. This one has to be gone. This one has to be gone. And then again, go back and make sure. Basic, and then this one is basic as well. Okay, so all of this is nice. Well done. Now I have to remove these. Remember, I already put in the defaults. So we'll stick these guys here. Okay, Control S saves everything. Basic constructor. What we need to do is go and take a look at what goes into this. Now, string is here. We don't know about string yet, so actually, it's if I'm including. Look, I'm including. Where am I here? Basic.h. Basic.h includes. So I really don't need to include string here because I've included basic.h here. That's why there's no issues there. Okay, if we run into issues, I can always add it. Great. Okay, so let's go in, and here what we're going to do, the basic does not have, okay, doesn't do anything special, right? Its constructor doesn't do anything special. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the customer constructor, and I'm just going to use everything right here. So it's ID, input, I use first, right? I use last, and then I use email input. These are the things. It doesn't have anything special unto itself, right? So it's that. That's your basic. The constructor just calls the customer constructor. No problem. It sets the values of these things to the defaults. All right. Get monthly fee. Here we're basically going to. So the difference between this and the other one, and what we're going to see in premium and premium.h is going to be what the return value. So this one is return 5, right? This one is return. What did we say? 3. And then this one was return a string. So return, and then we said that this was basic. And that's it. Make sure all the lines are done. So basic is basically done. Okay. So we can take basic and basic.h. We're basically we're going to use the same structure when we go to premium. Okay, so when we go to premium, so let's go to premium.h. Let's go to where is it? Basic.h. I'm going to just copy this. So copy, go to premium.h. Look at what's happening here. Look, I'm just going to copy this out. So this and this are the same. So I can take that out. I'm going to include string. So take that and stick that up here. Okay, and we have class premium instead of, right? I also, I forgot to go include using namespace.std. Copy that there. Class premium instead of that one. So that's gone. What else is here? Instead of basic, it's, I mean, all of these are going to be the same, except for instead of, yeah, basically everything is here. Instead of basic, we have premium. Okay, and we had everything here is exactly the same. And get monthly fee, get amount to borrow, get type, Control S, take that, take this basic definition, take it out completely, Control S. Now we haven't defined any of these yet, that's why they're underlined, but okay, no issue really. We're going to go in and go to basic.cpp, take all of this, copy it, and we're going to go to premium.cpp, and let's see if we can't make this much cleaner. So now we have it's premium, right? And then it's premium. There's nothing really changed there. Calls customer, right? Premium calls. We're going to make it call customer. So this is premium.cp. Did we do premium.h? I hope we did. Yeah, we just did. Okay. So premium.h is there. Premium. I should move all of this over here because we're working on it. So premium.cpp is going to be premium, get monthly fee. I'll change the values. Premium, get amount to borrow, and then premium, get type, and we're going to change the values. So this one, it's a double, but I put something different. I put an integer there. Let's go to premium. Let's see. So it was 10, 10, and premium. Okay, no problem. We can make it whatever we want. This is a double. I mean, we could put 10.0 if we want. This is 10. It's an integer, and this one's going to say premium. Okay, that's it. That's that guy. Okay, so premium, premium.h. Everything looks okay so far. Alright, so let's close these because I believe everything is okay. If there's an issue, well, we'll play with it and fix it. Okay, so let's go to inheritance, and let's go here and see what it has. Okay, so we're going to go in and we're going to see what we basically what we did when we instantiated these objects. Okay, so first thing that we're going to do is we need to start instantiating objects, and if we instantiate the child object, the basic or premium, then everything else will need to be. We can basically check to make sure everything was done properly. Okay, so if we go in and we check our, let's see, let's go in, and I'm going to just want to go through and make sure that I want to show you the same code that we had before. So in here we have IOStream. Okay, we need to include string because we're going to be using lots of strings. Okay, we're going to go include. So now we need all of the classes, starting with the base class. So we say include. Actually, if the base classes, let me just go make sure. Do we use any of? Yeah, okay. So we use customer. So we need customer.h, but we don't need person.h because customer.h, let me go in here, includes person.h. So we don't really need to worry about that. So if we go into, where are we here? Where's our main? It's inheritance.cpp. It's this guy right here. Okay. So if we include customer, right, .h, that will include the person.h, right? But if we include basic and premium, then we also have Control S. We don't even need customer.h. If we include premium.h and basic.h, it includes customer.h. Yeah, so we don't even need that. We can just put basic.h, okay, and we can go include premium.h. Okay, so all of these are going to, now if we run into an issue, we can include customer.h, no problem. So if we say now using namespace std, okay, now we don't have to keep saying string or cout or end all, okay? So we don't have to say std anymore. So alright, so the first thing we want to do, actually, before we do that, we talked about polymorphism and the reason why we had basic and premium customers, and that they instantiate objects of the same base class, namely customer. Now, let me see if the, you know what, let's just include it because it's going to be part of, just to be safe. Let's just say customer.h just for safety, because here what we're going to do is we're going to make a polymorphic function. So it's going to return us a string, and it was that customer type, because it's going to return what the customer type is, and it expects a customer pointer to a customer object, and we called it generic cust, right? Okay, so this is our polymorphic function, and all it's going to do is return, and we're guaranteed that whatever pointer we pass, if it's a child of a customer object, right, if it inherits from, it will have the get type method. Okay, and that's it. It will have this get type method. Control save. Now, before we can use this polymorphic function, what we need to do is we need to start instantiating some objects. So let's start making some objects. Let's see. Okay, let's go in and say customer. Okay, customer 1. That's going to be 1. I'll put my name. Okay, these are the inputs it's expecting, right? First name, last name, and then email. And my email is mgalley@onistogac.on.ca. Okay, so that's that guy. So I've instantiated my first object. Okay, so that's Control S. What did I do wrong here? Let me just make sure everything is correct. What's happening here? Customer 1, object of abstract. Oh, right. I cannot. Correct. I can't use a customer in this example because I've gone and made it abstract. So let's just go and use our premium and basic customers. How's that? Let's just go. So we're going to say this is basic, right? And we're just going to say, we're going to call it, let's just say basic customer. So this is me. I'm a basic customer. Control S. Good. Y1. What's it expecting? Integer. Input equals. What's the problem? What is the problem? I can't instantiate a basic customer. So basic should be working. Local variable, okay, it's basic customer. Search online. What happened if I press, if I try to instantiate? Let's see what the error is. Is there an error when they're made? There are some build errors. Let's go and see. So we say no. I want to see where the error is. Cannot access private member declared in class basic. Basically go and see basic.h at 6 and 9. So we're going to go basic.h. Right, okay. I made a mistake here. So you see the class basic in, okay, so we need to also check premium.h. Alright, this guy and this guy. We have to, because I don't have any variables here, I have to make this public. So I never declared this. That's one problem. Okay, and the same thing goes for basic.h. Okay, because the methods have to be declared as being public. So that was a problem. One problem. Let me just make sure customer.h. We have this guy, the IDs are there, these are public. This should be okay. Alright, let's go back to here and see, yes, we can now instantiate objects. All right, that's good. Now let's play around. I did put this one on the stack. I'm gonna put the other one on the heap. So premium. Let's just play around. Premium. It's a pointer to a premium customer, and we're going to say equals, and then we say new, right? And then we're going to say we're going to call premium, and then here we're going to provide. Let's make Ali our premium customer. Okay. Okay, and then here we say okay. So we have now. So this guy's on the heap. This guy's on the stack. I just got to remember, right? I got to remember to delete, right? So go on. Sorry, wrong way. Wrong way. This guy's on the stack. This guy's on the heap. Okay. And I always have to remember before I close here, I have to say delete and then premium customer. Done. Okay, so that I don't make a mistake on that. And then main always return 0. Okay, just so that it doesn't. We could system pause if we want. We don't really need to, but okay. So let's go in, and what we want to do is so we've instantiated our objects. Oops, wrong one. Instantiate. Objects in 2 ways, just for fun. And then what we're going to say is, here we're going to output, right? We're going to say cout, like this. I like to put endl at the end, very end. Okay, and here we're going to say this customer, or actually I could say, what I could say is, okay, let's go basic customer. And then here we got to put a dot because now what do we have? First name, right? And then like this. And then we could say is a, and then what? And then we could say basic customer, right? And then dot is a, and then actually what we're going to do, let me do something else. Okay, so basic customer. I'm going to use this polymorphic function. So I'm going to say customer type, and now it's expecting a pointer, right? It's expect a pointer to something that inherits from the customer class, and basic inherits from the customer class. But I spelt it wrong. Customer type, basic customer, and then Control S, and then it's going to go on the next line. Okay, so it's going to say Michael is a basic customer. I could put just for nice customer, and then do that. How's that? Control S. Now, if I want to do it with this other using the pointer, I need to change my output, but I can use Control copy. I can use the same polymorphic function, right? I could say what I could say is now premium customer, and then premium customer. But now look, it doesn't use the arrow notation because it's a pointer, right? To that, and then is a, and then here it already is a pointer. This premium customer, this is a pointer already, so I don't need the ampersand to give the address. Okay, so this function, this customer type, is polymorphic, and now we're passing 2 different types of so different classes now, right? But I'm also using different types of I'm using pointers to objects and objects themselves. Okay, so that's just an example. Let's go and see if this all works. Then everything we did was correct. If there's errors, well, we can fix them. So let's go in and run this code. Michael is a basic customer, Ali is a premium customer. We're done. We're good. Everything works, and this example that we saw, it's all exactly what we did. Everything works beautifully. All right, so that's that one. The last thing that we're going to look at is these exceptions. And so what we're going to do is go in and close this out. We can close this project. So save. We're going to save all, right? And then we're going to close solution. And we're going to create a new one. And we're going to go console application, go next. Here we're going to call this exceptions. I know there's two different exception examples that we saw. I'm going to put it on the desktop, and I'm going to go create. I don't know if I can, I think I can call it exceptions. Let's just call it exceptions project. How's that? And I go create. Okay, so we're starting from scratch. Let's just check yeah, we have exceptions there. Everything is good. I'm going to clear this guy out. All right, so let's play around with the exceptions examples. I might just put them all in one example. Okay, so we have our first exception. Actually, they're both really related. Let's just do the second one here as our example, and we're going to put everything all in this file here. Okay, so what do we have? We have to, whenever we want to use exceptions, we say include, and then we say make sure you spell it right, exception. Okay, and then we say using namespace std, just for keeping everything nice, because everything is in the standard namespace. Okay, look at that all there. So what do we want to do here? In this example, we had a function, so void, and all it did was throw an exception. Throw, right, exception. I hope I spelled that right. Okay, so open, close. So we're defining a function here. So the function, all it does is we say try, and in this try block is anything that can throw an exception. We're just going to manually throw an exception. So just cout, and then just go. We're going to say try. What did we write here? We said try. This is the exception thrown. Block exception thrown in throw exception. Something like that, okay? And we say that it's entered. That's where we entered it. Okay, whatever. Well, that's fine. And then here we're just going to go to the new line, and we'll go to the new line. Okay, and here we actually have to throw the exception. Okay, now where does this exception get caught? If we put nothing, okay, so if we don't put a catch here, then what's going to happen is it's going to default to if we have a catch in this in main when we call the throw exception function. Okay, actually let's do that. Let's do that just to show what's going on. Okay, so here we could just put a catch. We could say, look, we could say try. And then here we say throw exception. We're calling throw exception. Now something could be thrown. This guy could throw an exception, right? So, and then what we do, if there's an exception that's thrown here, it's going to be caught. So catch. If I spell it right, it will work. I like putting them close. Okay, so catch the exception. So here. Here we're going to deal with the exception, but I need to catch. So I'm expecting an exception object and catch that in E. And then here I say cout. Okay. We can say exception from throw exception caught outside the function. Okay, so that's just to show that, you know, I threw it inside the function, but I'm catching it outside the function. Okay, and then here I put, I don't know, program control. So cout. I just say resumes here, something like that. Okay, and then end all. Okay, I don't need system pause. I can just return 0, or I could say return 0. Either way. Okay, Control S. So basically, the exception is thrown and it's caught outside the function. Let's see, what did I do? I didn't put a catch. I did not put a catch. Now, can I just not throw? What's it gonna ask me? One handler. Oh, I see. So if I have no, okay. So what I could do is, okay. Let me just do this. Let's go like this. Go like this. Go like this and like this. And then what all this function is gonna do is throw the exception. How's that? Control S. So this function just throws an exception. Okay, and then it's going to be caught outside. Let's run it and just see what happens. The exception is thrown, and then it gets caught. So the exception gets thrown by throw exception, and then it gets caught, and this exception from throw exception caught outside the function, and then program control resumes after. Okay, if we go now, we're just going to make it the same as the other function. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Watch. We're going to go here. Now we're going to throw it twice. Just playing around now. So we're going to throw an exception, and then we're going to catch the exception. We're going to catch exception. We're going to catch that exception, and then we're going to rethrow it. Okay, in the catch, I put cout. Exception caught within the function, right? Within, throw exception, and then rethrown. How's that? Rethrown. Okay, and that's it. And then we say end line. Yep, end line. Okay. And then here, all I do is say throw. I take that exception, and then I rethrow it. Okay, so that's that. And then it'll be the same thing will happen, but it's just it's thrown and caught within the same exception using the try catch block, and then it's caught outside the function as well. Okay, so it's handled basically. So this unexpected error, right? And we don't know what caused this error, but something you're intending to throw an exception if something unexpected happens. Okay, within here. So great. So let's go here and let's run it. It should be thrown twice, so we should see both rules. So we have try block exception within the throw exception, and then rethrown, and then caught outside the function in main. Okay, beautiful. So that is handling exactly what we wanted it to do. Okay. All right. I think that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. So you have 3 projects that you can play with. Actually, one last thing I wanted to do was basically this guy right here. One thing that I missed was if an exception is thrown, okay, within either after the throw exception or after this guy, right? We should say cout. We should say this should not print, right? Let me just do that. I just want to do some check. This is a nice way to check. So control copy. You see here, once the exception is thrown, this line will not be executed. Let's just run it one more time before I close out the video. Right? Okay, so nothing prints. None of these, this should not print, got printed. So everything is working exactly as we planned. So let's close this and we just take a look. You'll find that let me close the solution and then exit. I'm just going to exit out of the program. So you'll find these guys within a zip file that is on Econestoga. You might find the old ones of this as well, because they're also in the lecture slides. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something, and I hope that you enjoyed the course, because this is the last video in our course.